All right, so we're going to get into our session here on player eligibility. Quick agenda. We're going to do a quick review of legal and illegal formations. If you have not seen it, I highly recommend going to our CFOA YouTube page. There is a video bulletin, instructional bulletin, specifically on illegal and legal formations that we did in the off season here. I highly recommend you watching that. However, we'll do a quick review and then we'll get into player eligibility and who can catch a legal forward pass, followed by looking at a couple of plays here tonight. So formations and what makes them legal and illegal. There's really only 3 allowable formations in our game: a scrimmage play, a scrimmage kick, and free kick formations. And while Team B or the defense, Team R, the receiving team, have no restrictions other than their restraining line and being on their side of the neutral zone, there are several restrictions that exist for Team A or the offense, Team K, the kicking team, in the formations that are listed above there. Team A can line up however they want, but important to remember that it's the snap or putting the ball into play that defines or causes a formation to be legal or illegal. In NFHS, an illegal formation during a free kick is a dead ball foul. Art Andrade with the save after our February offseason session there. Appreciate that, Art. But in a scrimmage play, scrimmage kick, illegal formations are live ball fouls that are enforced from the previous spot. So we'll get into it, but if you have 5 players in the backfield, for instance, this would be a live ball foul. You would let the play continue. Team B intercepts the ball, recovers a fumble, etc. They have the option to decline the foul and take the result of the play. So again, 5 yards from the previous spot, live ball foul during scrimmage plays or scrimmage kicks, dead ball foul during a free kick. So let's just quickly look at a couple of scrimmage plays. Here's kind of your basic standard formation. As fans, we're used to seeing this, whether we're watching a game on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, some Thursdays here. Even we've got wide receivers, 4 in this case, a quarterback, empty backfield, a couple of tackles, couple of guards, a tight end, a center, and a quarterback. But we don't care about positions as officials. We care about numbers. And for this to be a legal scrimmage play formation, the offense needs a minimum of 5 players numbered 50 to 79 that are on the line of scrimmage at the snap. And 99.62% of the time, the linemen are going to be positioned where you see them right here. Again, we've got 2 tackles, 2 guards, a center, and a snapper. So the offense has, in this case, a legal formation, or met the requirements of a legal formation, having 5 players numbered 50 to 79 that are on the line of scrimmage. We care about numbers, and we care about 3 lines. So we've got the line of scrimmage being the first line. The second line here is what we would refer to as the imaginary line, that is through the waist of the lineman, that defines who is a back and who is on the line of scrimmage. And that can be found in Rule 232.3. And then the 9-yard mark here, which we talk about in some detail in the other YouTube video that we discussed there. But really, we care about that imaginary line so that we understand who is a back versus who is on the line of scrimmage at the snap. And then we care about the position of the offensive players at the snap. A legal scrimmage play formation requires that no more than 4 offensive players are in the offensive backfield, and that includes the quarterback. So in this particular example here, we see that number 17, number 20, number 1, and number 21 are clearly off of the line of scrimmage, and therefore in this formation, this is a legal offensive formation that the offense can snap the ball in. Our CFOA standard that we talked about in the offseason here, that is, if a receiver is not on the line, then they are off of the line. So if you're looking at a player specifically, and say, for instance, number 17 here is, just off of the line of scrimmage, maybe like that, he is off the line. Do not split blades of grass, especially lower levels and early weeks of the season. Work with the players. Number 17, are you off the line? I'm off the line. Great. Get off the line. And I guarantee you that number 17 is going to start to move back and clearly become a back there. So, get in there, ask the right tackle, or in this case, if the left tackle is a little bit further off because he's getting beat a little bit, talk to the umpire. Greg, have number 51 move up or I'm going to bang him for an illegal formation and being in the backfield. No problem. I'll go up, talk to number 51, get up on the line of scrimmage there, young man, and most of the time that is going to resolve the issue without having to throw a flag there. So now just reviewing our legal formation checklist. Were all Team A players inside the 9-yard marks before the ball was snapped? Yes. Did Team A have 5 players that were numbered 50 to 79 on the line of scrimmage at the snap? Yes. And does Team A have no more than 4 backs in the offensive backfield? Yes. And if the answer to that question or all those questions is yes, then Team A can snap the ball in a legal formation. So that was specific to scrimmage plays. Now let's look at scrimmage kicks. And we have 2 types of scrimmage kicks. The first one here is what we're looking at is a punt formation. And when the kicking team is in a legal scrimmage kick formation lined up for a punt, Team A does not need to have 5 players numbered 50 to 79 on the line of scrimmage. In this formation, however, we do care who the kicker is and where they are positioned. And in order for this to be a legal scrimmage kick formation, the kicker must be at least 10 yards from the snapper in order for this to be a legal scrimmage kick formation there. So again, no numbering restrictions for a scrimmage kick punt formation, and then also no numbering restrictions with regards to a scrimmage kick or a scoring kick. So think of a try or a field goal. When Team K is in a legal scrimmage kick formation, they do not need to have 5 players numbered 50 to 79 on the line of scrimmage. However, we do care where the holder and the kicker are in relation to the snapper. The holder needs to be a minimum of 7 yards behind the snapper, and the kicker cannot be more than 3 yards behind the holder for Team A to be an illegal scrimmage kick formation here. So now that we've gone back and looked at what legal and illegal formations are, now based off of those formations, let's take a look at who is eligible to touch a legal forward pass. So important to remember that Team A player eligibility only applies to plays in which there is a legal forward pass that crosses the neutral zone during a down. So think of a screen pass, for instance, where a back catches a ball behind the line of scrimmage. Offensive players, eligible or ineligible, can be downfield if a ball is caught behind the line of scrimmage. Another important thing to remember too, under no circumstance, and again, we're talking about scrimmage plays here, under no circumstance can Team A players 50 to 79 touch a legal forward pass until it is touched by a Team B player. Players 50 to 79 are never eligible to touch a legal forward pass until it is touched by a Team B player. All Team B players are eligible to touch or catch a legal forward pass. Once the ball has been touched by a Team B player, then all Team A players become eligible to touch the ball or catch the ball beyond or behind the line of scrimmage. So important to remember that no more than 6 Team A players are eligible to touch a pass. That's all backs that are legally lined up in the offensive backfield at the snap, and 2 players that are on the end of the scrimmage line if they are not ineligible by number. Again, players 50 to 79 are never eligible to touch a legal forward pass until it is touched by Team B. So just to illustrate this, we've got our 2 players that are on the end of the line of scrimmage not numbered 50 to 79. So in this case, player 4, A4 and A11 are going to be eligible. And then 4 backs off of the line of scrimmage, clearly off of the line of scrimmage in A17, 1, 21, and 20 here, for a total of 6 players that are eligible to catch a legal forward pass. Now, a couple of other eligibility facts. When an ineligible team offensive player touches or catches a legal forward pass, this is a foul for illegal touching. It's a live ball foul that's enforced from the previous spot and a loss of down. Important to keep in mind that if the illegal touching occurs during a try, that try is not repeated, and that rule can be found in 834 there. If an ineligible offensive player inadvertently touches or is struck by the ball, so think of a quarterback throwing a ball over the line of scrimmage and it hits the snapper center in the back of the head, that touching is ignored. But if that non-intentional touching is beyond the expanded neutral zone, which we know is 2 yards into the defensive backfield, then we would have an ineligible illegally downfield, because we have a legal forward pass that crosses the neutral zone and inadvertently or intentionally touched by an ineligible receiver, we would have an ineligible player downfield. And then just another little tidbit that I found when I was kind of researching this: if an ineligible Team A player ventures too far downfield before a legal forward pass is thrown, but then retreats back behind the expanded neutral zone before the pass, it is still a foul for an ineligible downfield. And that can be found in our casebook in 7512. So I just alluded to it, but I just talked about it specifically, but we're going to introduce a new line, and we're going to talk about the expanded neutral zone and how it extends 2 yards into the defensive backfield, and the defensive backfield only. So we have a legal snap, and the offensive line retreats backwards behind the line of scrimmage to cover the quarterback, A1 in this case. What we want to do mechanics-wise is, in a 5-person crew, we want to see the umpire step up closer to the expanded neutral zone to determine whether or not any of those ineligible linemen cross the expanded neutral zone before a legal forward pass is thrown. So umpire, it's not necessary for you to get exactly at the expanded neutral zone, but umpires, it is your responsibility to know that expanded neutral zone. Talk about it during your pre-snap in your own mind. We're snapping from the A20, the expanded neutral zone going out. Expanded neutral zone is the A22. You might want to step up to about maybe the A23 to actually know that if anyone behind you an illegal forward pass is thrown, then you have an ineligible downfield there. In 7-person mechanics, flanks, it's your time to shine because we have more officials on the field. The umpire doesn't necessarily move up. But we'll talk more about 7-person mechanics later in the season here. So that expanded neutral zone, our standard in CFOA is to make that expanded neutral zone a really big 2 yards. Do not split blades of grass. If you think he was at or behind the expanded neutral zone, then he was not beyond the expanded neutral zone. Really, again, if you're thinking a 1st and 10 from the A20, ineligible should be beyond the expanded neutral zone, at the A23, still moving forward. Generally, you see this on broken screen plays when the quarterback, drops back to pass to the back, but, maybe a defender is broken through the line and that back is now covered. Those offensive linemen don't know that, so they're already moving downfield beyond the expanded neutral zone. Maybe the quarterback passes, maybe they don't. But that's generally when you see those types of things happen there. And so just a quick little knowledge check. In looking at this formation, who is eligible in this formation to touch a legal forward pass? And in this case, it's only 4 players on the offense. The 2 players that are on the end of the line of scrimmage, and the 2 backs, A1 and A21, that are highlighted here. A17 and A20 are what we refer to as covered up. You won't see that terminology in our rule book at all. But with A4 and A11 on the ends of their lines of scrimmage, respectfully, with A17 and A20 also on their line of scrimmage, they are ineligible. If you see A17 again, maybe just a couple blades of grass back, maybe A20 a couple blades of grass back. Yes, they are off of the line of scrimmage, but I definitely would have a conversation with them, both flank officials. 17, if you're off the line of scrimmage, get off the line of scrimmage. Scoot back a little bit. Same thing with A20 over here. But in our original formation here with A17 and A20 on the line of scrimmage, these are both ineligible. And in this particular formation, Team A only has 4 players that are allowed to touch a legal forward pass. When looking at scrimmage kick player eligibility, remember we reviewed earlier that the kicking team does not need 5 players on the line of scrimmage at the snap that are numbered 50 to 79, but if they are numbered 50 to 79, they are still ineligible and always ineligible because of their number. And then once a player assumes an initial position as a lineman in a scrimmage kick formation, they remain ineligible even if and when an offensive shift occurs. So this also applies to the snapper in a scrimmage kick formation as well. So let's take a look at a couple of examples here. Who is eligible in this situation? We are in a legal scrimmage kick punt formation here because we see that there's a kicker that is 10 yards from the snapper who is on the line of scrimmage. But we have no one that is eligible to touch a legal forward pass in this formation. All of our players on the line of scrimmage are numbered 50 to 79, with the exception of the snapper, who is number 2. And by position, he is ineligible to catch a legal forward pass. He is not a back, and he is not on his team, the end of his team's line of scrimmage. So this is a particular formation that you would see with all of these linemen. No one is able to catch a legal forward pass. So who is eligible in this situation here? Again, we have a legal scrimmage kick formation, and this is a scoring kick. So we have a holder that's 7 yards behind the snapper. We have a kicker that's 3 yards behind the holder. So who is eligible here? Even though there's only 10 players in this offensive formation, we still have 6 of those players that are eligible to catch a legal forward pass. Those players are the 4 backs that are off of the line of scrimmage. So we have A13, 7, 2, and 33. And then we have the 2 players on the end of the line of scrimmage that are not numbered 50 to 79 in number 45 and number 99 here. So we have 6 players that are eligible to catch a legal forward pass. Now, who is responsible? Let's talk about communication. And for this example here, just note, I did add an 11th player. Number 63 there is the kind of the left tackle, if you will. So let's discuss communication. So who's responsible for communicating eligible or ineligible numbers during a scrimmage kick? Well, in this particular case, we know that number 63, 52, 54, and 55 cannot touch a legal forward pass because of the number that they're wearing. We know that in the backfield, we've got 4 backs, 13, 33, 7, and 2, that can touch a legal forward pass, and 45 and 99 that are on the end of their line of scrimmage. So the only player with a legal number that can catch a legal forward pass is number 3, the snapper, which we know is who is ineligible by position. So here, this would be the umpire's responsibility, ultimately, to come in O to O, make a note inside his own head. Umpire is responsible for the snapper. Number 3 is ineligible. That's the only number that you need to remember in this formation here, because everyone else is either eligible by position or eligible by number. So there's no need for the flank officials, anyone underneath the goalposts to say, I've got 13 and 45. I've got 99 and 33. No, we know that they're eligible. Just based off of their position, the only thing that needs to be communicated in this situation is that number 3 is ineligible and cannot catch a pass. We know that 63, 52, and 54, and 55 cannot by their number, and everybody else is eligible. So now let's take a look at a couple of plays. All right, first up, we're going to look at a unique scrimmage play and a unique formation. And what you're going to see here as we break this down, very slowly and frame by frame, is that first and foremost, you'll notice when I press play here and move forward, we've got 4 backs that are in the offensive backfield, or clearly in the offensive backfield. And as we play this through, pay attention to number 2 on the right side. A little bit of trickery here where we've got a legal forward pass to a player that is on the end of his line of scrimmage. So we're assuming here that the team A had 5 players numbered 50 to 79. And then in this particular case here, we've got kind of a unique situation. We've clearly outlined our 4 backs that we have on the field. Now pay attention to number 3 on the right side of the screen, the receiver on the right side of the screen there. Is that receiver on or off of the line of scrimmage? And that receiver is very important, because if that receiver is in the offensive backfield, then we have 5 players in the offensive backfield at the snap, and therefore an illegal formation by the offense. However, if that player number 3 is on the line of scrimmage, then that means that eligible receiver by number 2 there on the end of the line of scrimmage, is covered up and is therefore not a back and not on the line, not the receiver on the end of the line of scrimmage. Therefore, he is ineligible to touch the pass. So in either way, this is a foul by the offense. It's either an illegal formation for having 5 players in the offensive backfield at the snap, or it is an ineligible downfield because we have a legal forward pass and illegal touching. Frankly, I would always go with the illegal touching and not the ineligible downfield, because the illegal touching carries a loss of down, and therefore if this is a try, the try would be over. So very important, especially for our flank officials, to determine who is on and who is off the line of scrimmage, how many backs are in the offensive backfield at the snap, so that we can pick up these types of plays and trickery that some of our teams have. All right, switching over to a couple of scrimmage kick examples here. So we have a scoring scrimmage kick. Looks like a field goal attempt from the 10-yard line here. And what we're going to see here is a muffed snap, a non-kick, and chaos ensues. Really important to know who is eligible to touch a legal forward pass in this situation. So if we go back to the beginning here, we can see that the 2 backs, the kicker and the holder, as long as they are not numbered 50 to 79, are eligible to touch a legal forward pass. We have 2 wing players. There it looks like number 17 on the left and number 7 on the right that are clearly lined up in the offensive backfield. They have eligible numbers, so they are legally allowed to touch a legal forward pass. And then the 2 players that are on the ends of the line of scrimmage, I believe there's an ineligible number on the left-hand side. It looked like a 58 or so. There it's really tough to tell. And then the other player, I think it was number 6 on the right side of the line of scrimmage here. But we do know that number 3 is the snapper, the long snapper in this particular case. And if we watch this kind of closely, chaos ensues, fire is being called by the holder, and we have a couple of people that are ineligibly downfield and an ineligible player, the snapper, that catches the ball in this situation. So a best practice here and this is 7-person mechanics, so umpire, even the side judge, since you're coming in, you can help with this, is to call out on your O to O's, say it to yourself, say it to the flanks that are underneath the goalpost, that number 3 is ineligible and remains ineligible throughout the down by his position at the snap, which is the snapper there. So best practice, good teachable moment here. Be aware of who is eligible, especially on scrimmage kick plays, because there are numbering exceptions, and communicate with your fellow officials who is eligible and ineligible to touch the pass. And in our final example here tonight, we've got a legal scrimmage kick formation. Looks like they're lined up for a try here. We've got the holder that is 7 yards behind the long snapper, kicker that is 3 yards behind the holder, and looks like we've got 6 eligible players. As long as they are not wearing numbers 50 through 79, they are eligible to touch a legal forward pass. And what do you think is going to happen? We have kind of a muff snap there by the holder, and we've got our 3 eligible receivers on our left, their right-hand side of the formation that go downfield, as well as number 8, who is on the end of the line of scrimmage to our right, or the line of scrimmage left there, that go downfield and legally catch a pass. It looks like we've got player, who is that? It looks like 89, maybe 99, number 20 and number 13, all wearing eligible numbers. Number 8 is beyond the expanded neutral zone, but he's also eligible because of his position and number there at the snap. So we have a muffed fumble, or a muffed snap rather, and a good 2-point try here for this team. And before we wrap it up with this instructional bulletin here, after I did the recording earlier this week, actually had some really good discussions with one of the units, or one of our units here, and our state rules interpreter, Steve Coover. So I thought I'd throw this question in here as maybe a pre-game discussion among your crew, something to think about on the way to your first game here. But with 41 seconds remaining on the clock in the fourth quarter, Team A trails 21-24, and Team A has no timeouts remaining. A, 3rd and 12 from the B30. Quarterback A1 completes a pass to A3 at the B15, and he is tackled inbounds with 27 seconds left on the clock. Team A runs its field goal team onto the field. Their scrimmage kick formation is below, and Team A's field goal is good as time expires. Is this formation legal or illegal? If it's illegal, why? If it's illegal, what's the enforcement? And who's communicating what to whom? As a crew, talk about where each of your positions are on a scoring scrimmage kick inside the B20. And for those CFOA officials remember we have a new mechanic for this scoring scrimmage kick inside the B20 here in 2024. So something to think about and talk about as a crew. And in I think maybe our week 1 bulletin, I will give the answer to this. And that's going to wrap it up for this instructional bulletin on player eligibility. Really appreciate everybody that watched this all the way through. I know it was a long one, but player eligibility, legal and illegal formations are a point of emphasis for NFHS in 2024. If your unit does give instructional credit for you watching these, there's a quiz embedded below in the description of this video. Just click on it. It'll take you to a Google Drive, a Google form with a couple of questions on player eligibility, and I'll make sure that information gets back to your instructional chairs for instructional credit. Until next time, slow whistles and only call what you see. Take care, everybody.